Welcome to the 53rd San Diego Crew Classic. I'm Mark Rose, the president of the San Diego Crew Classic, and we want you to be welcome here in San Diego in just a few days. We're looking forward to a great event. We have record entries and record number of clubs here coming this year. And also, we're introducing new for this year, beach sprints. We hope it goes very well, and next year it'll be not just an exhibition, but a major part of the racing on Thursday. We want to have a fun, competitive, and safe event. We'll be going through quite a number of slides and talking to this, but please, if you have any questions, hold them to the end or put them in the chat, and we'll answer them all at the end. The weather report is sunny with light breezes, so it should be a great weekend of racing. Now let me introduce you to our great team, led by Bobby Smith, our executive director. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. This is the agenda for our meeting. Please look it over. And if you see anything that you have questions about, make sure that we're not going to be covering it later in the presentation. Oftentimes what happens is we get inundated with questions in the chat, correct, Craig? That's where you should be asking your questions, but there are things that get answered later on in the presentation. So please take a quick note, look at the agenda. If it looks like it's something that's going to be after what we're talking about, just maybe wait on the question. All right, so this meeting is mandatory for all teams, coaches, whoever picks up your registration packet, and that will be a coach, will be required to sign an attestation form that states that your team has seen this meeting and that you understand all of the requirements at the regatta. If your packet is not picked up by the end of the day Friday, we will call you to ask you to pick it up. So please make sure that one of your coaches picks up the packet of your team on Friday. And that's by 4:30, by the way. This is the event schedule. The important additions this year. Well, first of all, of course, registration opens on Thursday at noon. You can drop off your trailer in our dirt lot starting Tuesday and I believe Wednesday, both by appointment, but registration itself starts at noon, and that's when launching can begin. You may not launch until your coach has picked up your registration packet. Important additions, as Mark mentioned earlier, we're adding a beach sprints workshop this year so that people can learn about beach sprints. We're very excited that our beach sprints workshop this year will be led by Mark Oria, the U.S. national team coach for beach sprints, and also Chris Bach, who is the current three-time world champion of a sport that's going to be added to LA 28. So if you want to check out the new Olympic sport and also meet somebody who's currently the reigning world champion, you can do that at this year's Crew Classic. Other things to take note of, US Rowing will be having a happy hour that's for coaches in the beer garden on Saturday. Find Tom Rooks. From what I understand, he has a card he can give you in order to invite you over to the beer garden and grab a beer. And also just note that each day on Friday, the grounds close at 7 p.m. and on Saturday and Sunday at 6 p.m. So please make sure that you're heading out at that time. Our chief referee this year will be Melanie Salter. She's been our deputy referee for the last 2 years, and we're very excited to have her in this position this year. Her deputy chief referee will be Mariah Foster, and Mariah will also be our lead referee for the beach sprint exhibition. Our VP of race operations, who's running the slides right now, and I appreciate him very much, is Craig Doan. Our beach master is Lex Switzer, who flies out from New York, if people don't know this, as a volunteer to come and support us every year and was last year's Volunteer of the Year. We also have our VP of Water Operations, Russell Moore. You'll see less of him likely than everybody else because most of us are on land, but he'll be on the water. Shore Operations Manager is Robert Lopez, and his assistant is Tyrone Stevens. If you see either of them around the grounds, please say thank you to them because they have a very hard job and they do it very well. Our volunteer coordinator, for anyone who is a volunteer, parents maybe want to, get in for free for the weekend, tell them to sign up and volunteer. Beth Kiernan would appreciate having them. I'm the executive director. My assistant is Anna Dewan. You'll see her in the registration tent. And then, of course, our president is Mark Rose. So I feel like this should go without saying. However, we're going to say it. The San Diego Crew Classic does not tolerate or condone abuse, bullying, or other inappropriate behavior. We need to take care of each other, not just our team, but also our competition. Be respectful of each other and be kind. If we do notice that there is bullying going on, these are the types of things that can be assessed a warning at the event. As I mentioned before, trailer drop-off can begin on Tuesday. However, Crown Point Shores, we take possession of it on Monday, March 23rd at 4:30 a.m. You may not be present at the venue when construction begins. There are lots of trucks that come in and out of the venue, and we need to keep people safe. So if you have not arranged ahead of time to be a volunteer on site, or you're not one of our paid staff, you should not be on the grounds at that time. Trailers may begin arriving starting on Tuesday, March 24th at noon, but you need to have an appointment. So please make sure that you're talking to us and letting us know when you're going to arrive, if you're going to arrive before on Tuesday during the day. Trailers arriving Tuesday and Wednesday will need to make individual arrangements, as I've already mentioned. And then Thursday and Friday, we're pretty open starting at 6 a.m. and all boats need to be in their corrals by Friday at noon. When it comes to teams, your team may not access the venue on Wednesday. There will be vendors and people checking in. However, athletes may not be on the grounds. The only time you cannot start unloading boats until 8 a.m. on Thursday morning, and you may not launch them until after you've gone through registration. You must have gone through registration and picked up your packet before you can launch. So that will be no earlier than noon on Thursday. And then, alumni tents and vendor tents, or alumni tents and team tents, those will be open Thursday starting at noon as well. There's a lot of rules that the city of San Diego gives us, and we are incredibly grateful to them because they give us this beautiful place and these beautiful grounds in order to hold the regatta. However, there are some things that people don't like in regards to these rules, and so we need to take note of them. Number one, coaches, please tell everyone, spectators, parents, anyone who's going to attend, no dogs or other pets aside from service animals are allowed in city parks. So this is not an us rule, this is a city rule. The other thing is no drones, okay? It may state that the airspace is free and you can utilize it, but during the regatta, you may not. And if we do find a drone on site that's being used, your team may be assessed a warning. This year, parking is especially limited. For anyone who doesn't know, last year we thought there would be construction on the grounds. There was not. There is this year. So the entire athlete parking lot that we traditionally use and refer to as the yellow lot is no longer available this year. So instead of the yellow lot, we're using the green lot. Parking for athletes will be on the northwest side of the parking lot. So as you enter the parking lot, it's to the left. That's where athlete parking will be. You'll still receive a yellow pass, but that yellow pass is again to enter into the left side of the parking lot. Every team will receive one yellow pass in their packet. Wristbands must be on all of your athletes before they enter the grounds. Normally, you need them before you can enter the parking lot. However, this year, because the parking lot is not within the grounds, your athletes can put them on after they've gotten out of the car and they're on their way in. However, they're going to have to go in through the main gates. And so they do need to have their competitor wristbands on. You only get one competitor wristband too. So make sure athletes understand not to cut them off during the weekend. They need to keep those wristbands on the entire time so that they can be let in and out. If they lose one, a coach may come to registration and we can replace it. However, make sure your athletes understand not to cut them off. I know, especially with novice athletes, that can be an issue. Towing vehicles may not be left in the trailer parking lot. So when you park your trailer, you then need to detach your truck. I'm sorry, everyone, but you need to do this. And that actually is what your parking pass officially is for. However, I'm not going to tell you where to park your towing truck. You can park it wherever you need to. But that's what it's meant for. Officially, as far as the city is concerned, it's only for towing vehicles. So you use it how you want. Everybody gets, again, one parking pass. Oh, and a really important thing is that last year there were people from out of state who thought that a red curb did not mean no parking. In the state of California, no matter what the rules are from your home state or home country, because we do have some international athletes here as well. In the state of California, that is a no parking towing zone. So you may not get towed, but you will likely be ticketed. Don't park there. So here's our parking map. As you can see, the yellow lot is completely cordoned off. There will be some porta potties in the north end of that parking lot. So you may cross into just the porta potty area. There will be bike racks directly behind them. No one may cross into the construction zone. If we find that any athletes have crossed in the construction zone, again, we may have to assess a warning. I hate to say all of this, but a lot of times people think they're special, and we need to make sure nobody thinks they're special with the construction zone. It's active. We need to keep people safe, and we need to make sure that everybody understands that it's very important to stay out of those areas. Even if it looks like, oh, I could just walk over this fence. Do not do that. Do not. This year, you're definitely going to want to tell your teams about additional parking. We do have a shuttle in the north lot over at Ski Beach. If you look, the south lot and the boat ramp lot both have no parking signs in them. There's going to be a ton of parking available in there, and people are going to think, oh, I can park here. If you read the sign, it says only vehicles attached to a trailer may park in those spots. If you park in those spots and you do not have a trailer, you will be ticketed. This has happened before with parents and spectators, so please, please tell them not to park there. The additional parking is going to take a longer walk, but there's normally plenty of parking over in the west lot and the beach access lot. Because we are in control of the whole grounds at Crown Point Park that weekend, there aren't as many people in the area as there normally are from outside of the regatta. So there oftentimes is parking. You can also park in the neighborhood, but I will say that the neighborhoods themselves also, some of the streets are under construction. So I wouldn't count on that. I would count, though, on using the shuttle. Again, it's going to be in the north lot, so they're going to have to walk to it, but there is parking on the other side of the North Ingram Bridge. And I believe this is where Craig takes over. So you've all heard enough from me. Craig, thank you very much. I'll let you go.
Of course. Hi, everyone. I'm Craig Doan, the VP of Race Operations. For a lot of the coaches and administrators who will be picking up packets and things, you'll find me throughout the weekend largely at the registration tent, helping Regatta Central and get you guys signed in and situated and get your packets distributed. And just a few things of note as it comes to that. We want to make sure that anybody picking up their registration packets is the coach or a team representative of record. And that is largely because we have in the past had athletes picking up packets for teams. They've distributed wristbands and parking passes to select boats, not gotten it to everybody else. We want to make sure that the people who are picking up the packet are responsible for making sure that that information contained within gets distributed out to all of the athletes. So let's make sure that it's a coach or again, team rep of record. Like Bobby had mentioned earlier, registration hours start Thursday. They begin noon on Thursday, run till 6 p.m. Fridays all day, 8 to 4:30, Saturday 6 to 6, and Sunday 6 to 2. You do have to pick up your packet, obviously, before you go out and race. We have had a few instances over the course of the years where people have forgotten to pick up the registration packet and tried to go through control. We want to make sure that everybody understands they've got to get this taken care of ahead of time, please. And it's also where you're going to be getting parking passes and wristbands. All right. Again, packet contents. Wristbands, you'll get one wristband for every athlete in the entry plus one staff member for that entry. Parking pass, each team gets one of the green lot passes. Again, that'll be a yellow parking pass for you. The other things included are the maps of Mission Bay, the racing schedule and award schedule, as well as your boat corral assignments. Okay, again, packets have to be picked up before you can launch for your race. So let's please get that taken care of as early as we can. A couple things to just keep in note as it relates to registration. Coaches, We did have some athletes and coaches complete their safe sport records and U.S. rowing membership records basically day of the event last year. So there may be some athletes and coaches that need to make sure that that is taken care of on the weekend, because if you go red in safe sport under U.S. rowing compliance, your team, your athletes may not be eligible to compete. So let's make sure that we get all of that stuff taken care of. Let's look at those deadlines. If any of you had to do it the weekend of, or right before this event last year, that may be something that holds up your crews from being able to pick up your packets. So let's make sure that we're taking care of that. Okay. Again, every participant on the roster has to be compliant for you to be able to pick up your packet. We work in conjunction with U.S. Rowing and Regatta Central to make sure that everybody is compliant. Coaches, you're getting emails probably starting already from U.S. Rowing if you have members who are not up to date on anything. Let's really try to get that taken care of ahead of time so that we're not having to scratch entries or make lineup adjustments last minute. All right. The things to complete to ensure that you are U.S. Rowing and Regatta Central compliant, your U.S. Rowing membership. All right. The safe sport, again, making sure that that is up to date, whether it is the full training or the self-attestation. U.S. Rowing waiver needs to be completed. Lineups will be due Monday at midnight. So tomorrow night at midnight, lineups are due. Let's make sure that those are in. All right, as well as the attestation form that the coaches, coxswains, or athletes, bow persons have seen this meeting and collected this information. We need to make sure, because we will be introducing some new things this year that will be a little bit different than years past. We want to make sure that everybody's up to date and understanding of what is going to be seen this year. Between construction and beach sprints, there will be some adjustments that need to be made. All right. Any additional requirements for registration? If you won a trophy, won an event last year, and took a trophy home with you, you need to return that no later than noon on Friday. All right. Payment of all required entry fees, penalties for late entries, anything like that. All of those need to be taken care of prior to picking up your packet. Okay. Any collegiate and club athletes, the eligibility needs to be confirmed. All right, for our youth and masters athletes, we need to have the confirmation of age and date of birth. All right, coaches who are traveling from out of town and staying in our hotels, we want to make sure that you complete our hotel survey. That's important for us to make sure that we're collecting that information so that we can get the support from the city, all right, to continue putting on this event. So coaches, please, let's make sure that we get those in. All right, and then any club programs, masters club programs that are going to be entering as a brick and mortar designated crew, we need to make sure that all of those addresses are in, all right, and confirmed well ahead of time. I believe the deadline is Tuesday. Again, the brick and mortar crews, the deadline to get your submissions in for ensuring that you are marked as brick and mortar in those Masters Club events, all right, is Tuesday, March 24th at noon. All right. Again, the brick and mortar clubs will demarcate you on the timing and results material. But to be eligible for the brick and mortar verification, we need to ensure that all members of the crew, including the coxswain, live within 50 miles of the club boathouse, which means that you're responsible for sending us each crew member's address and the boathouse address. And again, we need those no later than noon on Tuesday, March 24th, so that we have time to verify all of that and to make sure that everything gets into our timing system. We will demarcate that again in the timing system and results so that you know where you stand as a brick and mortar club at the end of those events. Okay, brick and mortar clubs in trophy races will be eligible for medals if they do not win the event outright, but they are the fastest brick and mortar team. All right. However, only the overall winner is the one who will receive the trophy. Right. Please use good sportsmanship and good judgment when submitting the verification for the club. We are trusting you a lot. We are verifying all of the addresses, but we ask that you treat this with the respect that I think all of the athletes out here deserve. Coaches and teams, as it comes to boat storage, we are going to be filled to capacity. We have a record number of entries this year. all right, with 450 entries, Crown Point Shores is going to be packed. All right, we want to thank you all in advance for helping work with us on this. The construction has limited some of our space. We have shifted a couple of corrals into parking lots. It'll be surrounded by fencing, all right, to ensure that we have enough ground space to hold all of the boats um, in their respective corrals. The one thing that I will say is a lot of the local programs that are in S and T corrals, all right, we have you loaded up pretty heavily this year. We really want to make sure that you're all working together to ensure that we can get all of those boats in that space. If there are ever issues, please come find me at registration or my email, and my contact information is all over the place. I'll make sure that it's out there for all of the coaches and everybody. Please get in contact with me. We'll make sure that we get you taken care of. All right. With that said, all the shells have to be located as designated in the corral map. All right. Please place your boats within the designated area marked by, we have little cones and signs on the grass with the corral labels. Okay. All shells are stored and launched from the regatta site during the races. Okay. We do not want you launching from trailers or local boathouses. All boats need to be on site. Okay. Shells can begin showing up and being stored on site at 8 a.m. on Thursday. Right? You cannot launch for practice until noon on Thursday, but you can store boats at 8 a.m. on Thursday. We do not want crews showing up any earlier than that because we do not have the grounds open. So if you put your boats down before 8 a.m. on Thursday, you will be locked inside the grounds. And with everybody doing all of the work on the grounds at that point, we do not want people in there wandering around while we're getting everything set up as much as we can. So 8 a.m. on Thursday is when you can start dropping boats. All right. We want all boats in place in their corrals, designated assignments by noon on Friday. Okay. Please plan to be in place by this time. It will help Lex and I, Beachmaster, go through and make sure that all boats get checked and everything as we go through control. And we'll try to do as much of that ahead of time as we possibly can. All right. Again, you can only put your shells within the designated assigned corrals. All right. Try to place those boats parallel to the lines, separating one area from another. Okay. There are a few lots or a few corrals that do not follow that parallel to the lines guideline, and a lot of the crews that are in those have been there before. They're kind of around the chute, starting at Corral A. In those, the north areas, they're near the dirt lot trailer parking. They're on a diagonal with access aisle down the middle separating them. We typically do draw those corrals in a diagonal so you can kind of follow that, as a guideline. But again, just want to point that out and make sure that we allow as much space to let athletes and everybody kind of work within those. The bayside areas on the bayside of the walkway and the south of the sheltered picnic area are going to be tandem with shells one behind the other. Again, a lot of the crews that are in these areas have been there before. All right, they should be able to serve as a bit of a guideline. But if there are ever any questions, please reach out and I can get you taken care of. All right. Since we are going to be packed with a lot of boats, record number of boats in the corral areas, going to have to ask coaches, teams, just work together, please. Let's get these boats, as tightly as we can into some of these corrals. Make sure that we have enough space for everybody to access their equipment. All right. Here's the map you can see with the construction zone at lot yellow. It is worked into the grassy area where the playground typically is, right just west of the Beachmaster and control. And that has resulted in us moving corrals J and K over into the parking lot and the green lot. Okay. For those of you who are in there, this is going to be a one-time thing, is kind of the target. We will hopefully have access to the space again next year and move those crews back into the grassy area a little bit closer to control. But again, we will have that space marked off with fencing. Okay, so that you will be shielded from the spectators and the cars that will be in the green lot. If there are any issues, please, again, just find me at registration or get in contact with me and I'll make sure that we get it taken care of. For all the crews that are going to be launching and going through control, which should be everybody, we want to make sure that you are very keenly aware this year of the state of your equipment. Over the course of the last couple of years, we've had a number of boats try to come through control. Excuse me, come through control with loose foot stretchers, heel ties not taken care of, riggers not tightly on, backstays loose, things like that. We cannot let those boats that are not up to or that are in disrepair launch. All right. So anything that comes through control, we're checking primarily for bow balls and zip ties. But if we see anything, we're going to be checking it and making sure that those boats are, water ready vessels. So please make sure that you're taking care of that before you're launching to head to control, because with the construction, taking out the J and K corrals and the fencing that's going up around that space, there is a little bit less space around control to drop boats into slings and do quick fixes before you get on the water. All right, we do not have that luxury as much this year. So we want to make sure that you guys are ready to go ahead of time, okay? Again, Beachmaster or race officials are going to inspect the condition of these boats. We'll place a colored zip tie on the bow ball if you are good, and that will be good for the remainder of the weekend. So as you're going through control, when you launch for practices on Friday, please go through control, get your boats checked. We can zip tie them there. We can get everybody taken care of as you're going out for that, and we can get ahead of the boat checks while we're going through all of this. All right. Again, no shells will be allowed to race without bow balls and heel ties. This is always a big one. For coaches, I really want to make sure that we're all up to date on what the practice schedule is. We really want you to adhere to the published practice rules and schedule. All right. If coaches are not complying with that, they could be subject to warnings that could impact their ability to participate in the regatta, and we'll work with the referees and timing group to go through all of that. But on Wednesday, there is no practice on the course. Okay, practice can begin again Thursday at noon. I know that you can place boats down in corrals beginning at 8 a.m., but we do not want you practicing until noon. All right, that is when we'll be staffing control and have people on the water to ensure that we have a safe opportunity for everybody to go out and practice. So practice runs from 12 to 6 on Thursday. On Friday, you can practice from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. and from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's really important that we note that these times are when you can begin launching 8 a.m. and you must be off the water by 1 p.m. Friday is incredibly important in particular because we will be running a beach sprints clinic, all right, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Friday. All right, the 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. portion will be on land in the Champions Pavilion, but the 10 to 11 section will be actually down near the launch zone, all right, and the north end of the launch retrieval beach, and will extend out towards Crescent Island a little bit. And there will be some beach sprints boats going onto the water, all right, and going around a buoy placed probably about 50 meters off the shoreline, and turning around as part of the exhibition and demonstration for that. So if you are launching in that period, particularly from the 10 to 11 a.m. window, we want to make sure that coxswains look to your port side, look to the north as you're leaving the beach. Keep an eye on that event. Give it plenty of space. You should have plenty of space to still go around to the left side of Crescent Island and launch for your practice. We just want to make sure that everybody is mindful, because what's going to be happening early that morning on Friday as well is we will be dropping anchors that will attach buoys from when we run the exhibition event for the beach sprints later in the afternoon on Friday. All right. That is why we need everybody off the water by 1 p.m. on Friday for that practice, is because from 1 to 1:30 we'll be running some beach sprints events, all right, in that northern section of the launch retrieval beach, out about 250 meters, all right, out almost past Crescent Island, and there will not be the space for crews to come in. There will not be space for crews to launch. We want to make sure that we are clear of the water by 1 p.m. on Friday. I can't stress that enough. All right. Because of the beach sprints course that will go in that section, and I'll have a map and I'll show you here in just a little bit exactly what that'll look like. All right, there will be anchors placed with pool noodles that will float essentially the line to those anchors. Coxswains, keep an eye out for them. There should be no damage to the boats. They are just foam pool noodles, but I just want to make sure that nobody gets caught up in them or anything like that. They will be on the north side of this launch retrieval space. And again, I've got a map that I'll show you a little bit earlier and we'll highlight this again. All right. The Friday night window is one that's always a bit tough. Let's make sure we're trying to launch by 5 and returning again on land by 6 p.m. Saturday, there's the same window, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Again, landing by 6 p.m. All right. Sunday, there is no practice. And just to help with an understanding of what that window is meant to be, the last launch is 40 minutes before the close of the practice window. So those Friday 5 to 6 p.m. windows, you basically have from 5 to 5:20 to launch for that practice. All right. And again, can't stress this enough. Please be on land by the close of the practice window. All right. Here's where I will hand it off to our beach master, Lex Switzer, and they'll go through the landing and recovery zones here.
Thanks, Greg. Hey, everyone. Super excited for the San Diego Crew Classic next week. Welcome, Coxswains. This is when I want you to lock in. So if you were zoning out, come back to me right now. Coaches, please be advised that noon time frame for practice, that noon to 1. If you have a less experienced crew who maybe hasn't launched from the beach, just be cognizant of that. We want to set our crews up for success. Please don't come to me 5 minutes at 11:25 and be like, please let my crews launch, because that puts me in a bad position and my answer is going to be no. So for launching, for my Coxswains, this is going to be a beach launch. There's no dock. So what that means is you're going to go up to the shoreline. You're going to put your bow always facing the finish line. No matter if you're launching or you're covering, your bow will always face the finish line. And you will sidestep your boat into the water about knee deep. You don't need to go any deeper than knee deep, and you definitely want to be a little bit deeper than ankle deep, so that way you can get into your boat. You want to have the outside pair get in and then the inside pair. So just make sure you practice that or talk it through with your crew so they know what the plan is. When you are stepping your boat in, because this is a beach and it has sea life, let's just make sure that we shuffle our feet so we don't accidentally step on anything that's in the water. It is a beach. Things come up on the beach. So, just be cognizant of that. There shouldn't be any issues, but just so you know. That being said, when you're going to launch your boat, if there's no one there, then you shouldn't be launching your boat. We're going to have safety boats on the water. So if it's early in the morning and there's no one at the beach area and you have a race that's starting that morning, I promise you, the race will not start if no boats are launched. So please just wait for the beach master. We will get you there. We will launch you with your bow numbers. It'll all be good. Once you launch your boat, your bow is facing the finish line. You're going to turn out. The current will probably help you do that. So you'll turn out. You'll go around Crescent Island. We just want to be really cognizant of that as the returning crews that are coming down from a cool down lap will also be coming around that corner. So just give Crescent Island a wide berth. At no point ever should you be in between Crescent Island and the shoreline going up the course, ever, the entire time. This is also very important for my local crews. When you are returning your boats at the end of the regatta, you will still go around Crescent Island to the midway point, and then at that point, the check-in referee or the check-in boat will let you know when it's safe to cross the course to take your boats back home. But at no point ever during the regatta should you be going up the course between the shoreline and Crescent Island. Go around Crescent Island. Please go around Crescent Island. Okay, great. So as you go up the course, we'll go into that a little bit more. If you come to the launch area and you don't have your boat ready, it's really tight, as Craig said. So, I'm going to send you away. You must come through control starting on Friday. So this is really important for my boats that are very close to the gravel lot. It seems like it'd be an easy way to just go straight to the beach from there, please don't do that. Please don't try to get past me. It's frustrating for everyone, especially boats that are waiting in line to launch. So please come through control. Please come through the control. Awesome. Next slide. Also, I say let's try to launch in 90 seconds. That's a good goal. My collegiate teams are super on top of it. So if you have time to watch them do it, you should watch them do it. They're very good. These are the hazards. You can see there are many hazards in Mission Bay in terms of buoys and channel markers. They do float around, they move, so you just need to be aware of them as you're navigating the course. There are 3 areas in which you cannot enter. There's one located just beyond the finish line, and it's got some markers, so don't go in there. That's a wildlife protection zone, and we can get in trouble with the city. The other 2 are up in the warm-up channel, and you'll see that, and there will be a check-in boat to help you navigate that area, but also it's mocked up by many buoys, so don't go past them either. If you have any issues in terms of equipment and you're closer to the shore or up there, just get the attention of a check-in boat, and we will help you in the best way we can. You can see that this is the traffic pattern that is going to be in effect in a few hours, okay, all the way until 2 p.m. on Friday. Okay, so this is the traffic pattern for race day. It is opposite for my local teams than you're used to, so please be aware of that. You can warm up in that area beyond where all those buoys are. You can see the blue arrow going around, but if you're not experienced, you don't need to go all the way back there. Like there's plenty of room between Crescent Island and that long area, so just be aware of that. My novice coxswains, take a look at the map, orient yourselves. This is what the traffic pattern looks like for racing. So you can see that you will launch, you'll warm up, you'll go all the way up, you'll pass a check-in boat at midway in the course area, and then you'll go up to the warm-up zone. You can do a couple laps up there, and then you're going to get ready for your race. You're going to put your bow facing the finish line, right? You're going to race down the course, and then once you finish your race, you can either return to shore, okay? So you're going to do a hook around, you're going to turn left, back to shore, and you will recover with your bow facing the finish, or you can turn right and do a cool down loop, again, going around Crescent Island, but give Crescent, you're going to join the launching traffic pattern because there are going to be other crews that are also cooling down, and they will be closer to Crescent Island. So again, go wide around Crescent Island if you can, or as much as you can, to be cognizant of those boats. Also cooling down will be coming around Crescent Island. So not necessarily the time to take power 10s, just be aware of that area. There's plenty of room, so there shouldn't be a problem. All right, we're going to have so many teams, and and it's going to be really exciting. We have lots of racing, and we get asked about hot seating. So when you come to pick up your flashers, which are stickers that go on the side of your boat, under your coxswain in an 8, or under your stroke seat in a 4 or a quad, you will pick up your bow numbers when you launch. Okay, so flashers you'll pick up 45 minutes to an hour before racing. Your bow number you will pick up when you launch. If you are hot seating, I will give you a piece of paper that says hot seat on it. You need to take this laminated piece of paper in the boat with you. It does not do you good if it's on shore. Take it in the boat with you. When you finish your race, you will hold up that hot seat card after the referee has ended your race. That way, the beach masters on shore will help prioritize your return, so that way you can launch quicker for your next race. Okay, so please be aware of that. Bring the hot seat piece of paper with you. Have your bow balls, all your equipment. Flashers, please make sure that they're correct orientation. Okay, if your boat is upside down, don't put your sticker on upside down, or put it on upside down. Okay, next. Again, this is going over the track pattern. You're going to go up around Crescent Island. If you're returning your boat, you will go up to the mid, and your local team, you'll go up to the midway point, and a referee will help you cross the race course when it is safe. All right, so the other thing is we talked about a breakage. So if you have an issue on the water, please get the attention of a check-in boat, and we will help you as best we can. If there's obviously a serious injury, just have your coxswains and your rowers wave their hands in the air, and a boat will come over to check in on you, okay? If you, coaches, this is for you. It is oftentimes necessary for your boats to be able to scull for alignment. If your team does not know what sculling for alignment is, coxswains, if you don't know what sculling for alignment is, get with your coach and say, Coach, I need you to teach me how to do this, because it will be very important, or it may be very important, and I want you guys to be ready. The other thing that we're going to talk about is something called catching diagonal. There is white buoys on one side and green buoys on the other side of each lane. So you're either going to have white buoys or green buoys on your port side. When you start the course, you want to make sure that you pick a point and you identify the color of the buoys on your port and starboard side. They should remain that color all the way down the course. So if you start with green buoys on your port side, you should have green buoys on your port side the whole way down. If at any point in the race your buoys are green, white, green, white, green, white, you have caught the diagonal. You are now going diagonal down the course. It's not the shortest. So you need to orient yourself in a lane and then stick to that lane. I recommend you pick a point as far down the course as you can find it and keep your bow pointed on that, as well as identify whatever buoys are on your port or starboard side. Keep a few blade links off them and use that to navigate your way down the course, and you will be great. Again, use 16, use 17 boats, coxswains, coaches, stroke seats, bow seats. If you don't know what sculling your boat is, please ask your coach so they can touch you. There's also a video in this PowerPoint. Next slide. And now, in order to go over the beach sprints demonstration, I'm going to hand it back to Craig, and we will answer your questions in the chat shortly. Thanks, Craig.
Yep. All right, everybody. We're really excited to introduce beach sprints into the program this year. And again, I mentioned a little bit earlier, Mark had mentioned it as well. We're going to be doing a demonstration or a bit of a workshop from 9 to 11 a.m. That'll include some on-land training and on-the-water learning opportunities. But the most exciting thing I think about this is we get to have the U.S. National team coach, Mark Oria, out helping lead that workshop, as well as Chris Bach, a three-time world champion in the beach sprints, helping us get geared up. Because I think one of the things that's so amazing about this event is, like, we're starting it in LA 28. It's the first real opportunity, I think, for beach sprints to make a name for itself. And there's going to be 3 gold medals on the line at LA 28. So we get to have the people who are leading the U.S. team and have demonstrated a pretty remarkable capacity at the sport out here to help us get this program launched in anticipation of us actually doing beach sprints as a full-on event next year as part of the San Diego Crew Classic. So this is our opportunity to kind of showcase that to everyone, and we're really, really excited. So again, from 9 to 11 on Friday, all right, there will be a 1-hour kind of didactic component inside the Champions Pavilion, where Mark Oria and Chris Bach will present and kind of introduce the fundamentals of beach sprints to everyone. And then we actually have boats that we will be able to get everybody out into. We'll drop one of the buoys for the course out, and so we will try to get people the opportunity to hop into a coastal boat and row out and do one of the 180-degree turns around that buoy and get an introduction and a taste for what this sport is, so that you now have a year to learn and get ready to actually compete for medals at San Diego Crew Classic next year. Okay. Couple things with the beach sprints demo. I kind of highlighted it a little bit before when we talked about the launch recovery zone and what was happening kind of on the north end of that beach. Coxswains, really just want to make sure that you're aware when you're going out for your practices on Friday morning, particularly in that like 10 to 11 a.m. window. Please look to your port side, look to the north as you're leaving the beach. All right, be mindful of those boats because those will be beginners. They will be novice, first time people in those coastal boats, and they've probably got rowing experience, but it's a different boat. It's a different piece of equipment, and we can't guarantee that they're going to be the most nimble. All right, so please pay attention as you're launching from there. You can see from here that the course and the space between that and Crescent Island should offer you plenty of opportunity to leave the beach and clear everything as you go around Crescent Island to go out for your practice. Please just be mindful. Again, we are going to be dropping anchors with pool noodles to float the lines for those. There will be 6 of those out there on the north end. They'll line up with where these buoy markers are on the map here, and they should not damage the hull. They're just foam pool noodles. But do just want to make sure they don't sneak up on you. You don't get an oar caught, anything like that. Just be mindful of that as you're leaving the area, and I think everything will work out well. The really exciting bit beyond the demonstration is that on Friday from 1 to 1:30, and again, this is why we need the practice window closed at 1 o'clock, because while you guys are coming in off of that, we will be setting the remainder of the course, and we will be running some events from 1 to 1:30. They are exhibition events with experienced rowers, including Chris Bach, Susan Franzia, a number of other participants who have medaled, participated in world championships in beach sprints. So there's going to be quite a bit of experience out there. You'll get to see what it really, really looks like. And we're excited to present that to you and give you the opportunity to see kind of just how exciting beach sprints can be, and hopefully get everybody geared up to, again, sign up and participate in this next year and get a taste in advance of what is going to be happening LA 28. We're really excited about this. So there is a sign up. You can go to the Crew Classic website, and there is a sign up for this. Currently, we have 13 people signed up. We have kind of been mulling around the number of about 30, possibly being the max, but we want to make sure that we provide as much opportunity to everybody that we can. So if you can, get signed up. If you decide that morning that you want to give it a shot, you know what? We'd love to have you out at the Champions Pavilion at 9 o'clock that morning, but it would really, really help just in the planning and the logistics and making sure that we get everybody the opportunity. If you can go to the crewclassic.org website and sign up for that event. But we would love to have you out there. I think it's going to be a really, really exciting event, and we're excited to get things geared up to do that next year. Another event that we kind of include that is not of your typical schedule are the Foundation Challenge sprints. They are Masters dashes. All right, they are 500-meter dashes that occur. They are the last events of the weekend that happen on Sunday, March 29th. For those of you who are participating in the Foundation Challenge events, all right, the warm-up will be to the 1,000-meter marker because they are the last events on the water over the course of the weekend. We have to tear down our course essentially by dusk that night on Sunday night. So what we ultimately end up starting is as soon as that last 2,000-meter event is complete, we start tear down beginning at the start line. So for the warm-up for the Masters dashes, we don't want you going past the 1,000-meter marker because we will have our water ops team out there starting the course teardown. There will be a launch at the 1,000-meter marker that will kind of like let you know where you're at, as well as make sure that you're getting pulled onto the course at the appropriate time. Because when you get to the 1,000-meter marker, that referee will call you onto the course when it is time for your race. All right, they will call you onto the course, put you into your lane, and then all the boats will paddle up to the 500-meter mark together where there will be a floating start. All right, Coxswains, we really need to make sure that you're listening to the referees so that we can get these events started on time with the floating starts. Rowers, please be responsive, listening to your coxswains. Once we get up to that 500-meter mark, we're looking to make minor adjustments and get the boats going. All right, and from that 500-meter mark, you'll run to the official traditional San Diego Crew Classic finish line for the 500-meter event. Again, just a map real quick to show you for those Masters dashes. All right, you're going to be launching from the beach. You'll go around Crescent Island. The 1,000-meter mark is essentially the closest edge to North Ingram Bridge from Crown Point, or there's a little boat here next to an island. A lot of us like to call that Radar Island. There will be a boat there that will serve as your check-in. They will be the officials to call you onto the course and then let you know to paddle up to the 500-meter point together within your event. Right? And with that, I'll hand this off to Melanie Salter, our chief referee.
Hi, everybody. I am joined by Mariah Foster as my deputy and an extremely experienced and qualified group of referees who are excited to put on a safe, fair, and fun regatta for all of you. For my coxswains, before you get hands-on, before you launch, please make sure that you know your race number as well as your lane number. The water ops staff will call you into the staging area and from there, hand the race over to the referees while you will load into the platforms. You may warm up in your lane as long as you are locked on to your stake boat prior to the 2-minute call for the start of the race. Please, coxswains and bow seats, be prepared for crosswinds as well as tides and currents. Again, as Lex mentioned, please speak to your coach if you do not know how to scull your bow around. The expectation is as soon as you are in the stake boat that you are working to hold a point. Please, 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 again, practice this before you arrive. Thank you. In the starting area, the starter will pull the crews. They'll call attention, raise their flag over their head, pause, and they say go. When the flag drops, you can go on the movement of the flag rather than the word go. So please make sure you instruct your rowers to watch the flag drop. There are no lights, buzzers, or boots on this race course. If there's inclement weather, we will move to a quick start. The starter will inform you that there will be a quick start. They will tell you they're going to quick start. The command will be quick start, attention, go, with the same flag commands. There are no hands recognized at the start. So again, please work to hold your point throughout the starting sequence. If crews start before the movement of the flag, you may have a race stopped within the starting area. That would be up to the starter and receive a false start warning. Again, the first 100 meters of the race are your start zone. If you leave the 100-meter area, the expectation is that there's no objection to the start of the race. If you have breakage within the first 100 meters, please instruct your crew to stop rowing, put your hand in the air, and we will address it and assist you the best that we are able to do so. But again, once your bow crosses the 100-meter mark, the race is considered fair. The next opportunity you would have to object would be at the finish of the race. For the body of the race, you have the right to row a safe, clean, and fair race in your own lane. In addition to our course, in addition to the upgraded buoy colors this year, is we now have large tetrahedron buoys marking each 500-meter mark at the sides of the lanes. So that's an upgrade that we're really excited about to have for you. There will be 2 referees following every race. If they do need to direct your steering, they will use a white flag. They will address your team name. They will raise the flag over their head and then direct you to the area that they would like you to steer. Coxswains, if you're in a 4, please make sure you speak to your bow seat and that they understand this, as well as coxed quads for my U16s out there. And coxswains and 8s, please make sure you speak to your stroke seat about this as well. A red flag, if used, is used to communicate to all of the crews. The referees will only raise a red flag during the race to stop the race. Thank you. At the finish, the finish marshal and the referees following the race will monitor all crews to make sure that everyone is okay, first of all, and also to make sure that there are no objections to the race. When you cross the finish line, there is an orange flag on shore as well as a horn. The exact time will be run by our timing system with manual timing as backup. Once crews have crossed the finish line, please refer back to the licensed traffic pattern and you would recover or go to the cool down zone as necessary. The referee, if the race is clear and there are no objections, will hold up a white flag to the crews on the finish line to signify that that race is official and fair. If you have an objection to the race, coxswains and bow seats, you must raise it at the finish line. You cannot file an objection from shore. You need to raise your hand. A referee will approach you. They will ask you what you saw and what you would like to see happen. They will tell you what they saw, and then it will be your decision whether you would like to accept that judgment or continue with your protest. If you do decide to file a protest, the protest must be lodged within an hour of the finish of your race with $50 in cash to myself or Mariah Foster, my deputy, at the finish line. You can get the protest form from the Beachmaster or from the finish line as well. The protest would then be reviewed by a jury, and the results would then be published as a result of that. But again, please do not leave the finish line area. To all crews, please do not leave the finish line area unless you see a flag from your following referee. If we need to speak to you and you're not there, then that's going to create problems for us. So please don't leave until you see a flag from your trailing referee. Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie. I'll hop in one more time here. Coaches, athletes, as it relates to emergencies on site, okay? Please review the emergency procedures for kind of our full outlines as it relates to medical emergencies, weather, venue evacuation for any reason. One of the big things that we want to make sure that everybody's aware of is that we have first aid staff on site with RNs, EMS. We have ambulance and lifeguards on site for the entirety of our event, as well as the first aid tent that is, excuse me, right next to our registration tent or our information tent that's right at the finish line. Okay, we really, really want to make sure that everybody understands that if there is anything that happens on site, please come to the EMS. Please come to see our medical staff. Okay, even if it's something small, even if you don't want treatment, anything like that, please just come so that we can make sure that we are documenting it. We are making sure that you're okay. We take your safety very seriously, and we want to make sure that I understand that sometimes it can be embarrassing or whatever. All we want to make sure is that you're safe and taken care of, and it's the reason that you've got a U.S. rowing membership and the insurance and everything that goes along with it. We want to make sure that everyone who comes to our event is taken care of. So please, if anything does happen, alert our staff. And let's get to the first aid tent, get to the EMS, at least get looked at, and then you can make the decision on your care from there. Okay. If there are any issues as it relates to weather, those decisions will be any decisions relating to the racing program due due to the weather is going to be made by the water operations team in conjunction with the referees. Okay. Again, your safety is of the utmost importance to us, and we want to make sure that all of the racing that we provide is as fair and safe as we absolutely can. So if there are any on the water concerns, again, water operations and our referees are going to be working together. There are launch drivers and our EMS staff and the referees. They will work together to communicate the safest course of action for the athletes and crews during an emergency. All right. But if there is an absence of a safety marshal or anything like that in the immediate vicinity and something happens, within your boat, the coxswains and the athletes need to use their best judgment on whether it's safe to either launch or remain on the water, depending on the circumstance. And if it's unsafe to remain on the water, please proceed immediately to the nearest shoreline. And we have, again, the water ops and the referees are constantly scanning the course. They're constantly scanning the surrounding areas. We will make sure that we communicate and we get safety marshals and the people and the staff over to you just as quickly as we possibly can. All right. In this presentation, we've got the QR code here. This is for the schedule. Okay. The schedule should be set by now, barring any emergencies or delays. The schedule should be set. You can find it at the QR code here. Okay. Same thing with the results. Okay. Those will get posted in real time or as soon as possible, depending on any protests or things that need to be taken care of following an event. But assuming we get a white flag from the officials, those events will be marked final and times will be posted immediately following that event. One thing that is different this year is our live stream. So we are pleased to announce that Overnight is going to be our official live stream partner this year. All right, viewers can access all 3 days of racing with just a monthly subscription for $11.99, or you could select the annual subscription for $105. There are other particularly rowing events. I believe the boat race from here on out for the next few years is going to be on Overnight as well. So you can do an annual subscription for $105 if you'd like. But the monthly subscriptions, if you do that, they renew automatically. So to make sure that you're only paying the $11.99 for the Crew Classic event, let's just make sure that you cancel prior to the next billing cycle. We don't want anything to sneak up on anybody for that. Okay. Excuse me. You can watch live from the first race on Friday to the last race on Sunday. You can purchase this access in advance and log into your account during the weekend to watch. So again, just make sure that if you do purchase that month, I believe that you can actually go in and cancel essentially right away so that when that month is up, it will not auto renew. But if you do not take care of that, you may get billed a second time. For the teams that come out on top in their events, we do have a medal and trophy schedule, okay? An award schedule. It's important that all of the teams show up at their assigned times. We run into this a lot throughout the year. I know that you're excited that you won the event, and we're excited for you. We want to make sure that we can celebrate you accordingly. So let's make sure that we get to the awards dock at the appropriate time, all right? And we've got a tight schedule with specific pictures and things that we want to make sure that we get for every crew that wins an event here. So please get there on time so we can get that taken care of on schedule. All right. There is a copy of the award schedule that's included in your registration packet. Excuse me. And if you're unable to make the award time, please just let us know. All right. So that we can make adjustments as needed. Okay. For crews in the Club Masters events that have 12 or more entries, again, let's want to make sure that it's clear. Brick and mortar awards are only awarded to the Club Masters events that have more than 12 entries. All right, but for those that are the fastest brick and mortar program, whether you win the trophy or not, we want to have you report to the awards dock to receive your medals immediately after what the trophy presentation time would be for that race. So again, check the awards schedule, see what time the trophy presentation is for that, and you can show up around that same time, and we'll make sure that we get you pictures and everything with the medals and everything that you have there. Okay. For the crews that are going to be taking trophies home, and if you do win a trophy, you do not have to take it home. It can live with us. We'll keep it nice, keep it shiny, and make sure it's ready again for next year. But if you do want to take the trophy home, we want to make sure that those are all signed out. It will not leave the awards area until we get a verified signature from the coach or team leader of record for that program to make sure that we can get that trophy returned to us again next year. And I believe that kind of closes us out for a lot of the information that we have prepared for you. I know that was a really long meeting, but if you can, drop questions into the Q&A section, and we will get those addressed now. Bobby or Lex, if you wouldn't mind being able to take a look at the Q&A. It's hard for me to
Yeah.
do with the
So
Sorry, I was
presentation.
answering the last question that's in there, so I'll just answer it out loud. Currently, so Edward was asking if the corral map assignments are available at this time. Yes, they are. There was an email that went out on Friday that was we refer to it as like, the one email. If you read it all year, read this email. All of that is in that email. I will try to send it out again tomorrow to everyone who's registered for the event. It'll just be kind of a copy and paste of our MailChimp email. So do know that I'll send it out to everyone. Okay.
I got the next couple, Bobby.
Hold on.
So
Oh, okay.
for the lane and flashers, they'll be available depending on if you have a race at 6 a.m. and you try to come at 4 a.m., you will not be able to pick up your flashers. But if you have a race at 2 p.m., we will probably be able to give you your flashers 2 hours before that race. So just use your best judgment. You will definitely be able to get your flashers an hour before. But obviously, if it's a very early race, you have to give us time to set up. So does that answer that question, Emma? And then for
I think Melanie should answer the question about heel ties because
oh,
I
sure,
think
go
that's
ahead,
a
Melanie.
referee call, not an us call.
Yeah, Chris, the Shimano rowing shoes are perfectly acceptable. Thank you for asking.
And just like to jump on top of that, I know there's like a lot of questions about it I try to help the Beachmasters, but just be patient with them. If they're unfamiliar with that, you don't have to get mad about them. I'll be there and I will help train my guys, but just we have some people who've been there for a really long time and they might not be familiar with them. So just be patient and explain it and it'll all be okay.
All right. There's a couple more questions. Let's see. Where do we file master's birth dates? Is there a form? Where is that form? So your birth dates would be through your Regatta Central through your US Rowing membership, and then they show up on Regatta Central. So just make sure that all of your information is up to date at US Rowing and that you have an up-to-date membership. If you've been receiving compliance emails from Regatta Central, that's probably why. And then what do masters need to do okay. I just answered that. Beyond Regatta Central, I mean, hopefully you're telling the truth in your Regatta Central or at US Rowing. Will replays of the regatta is what I'm assuming you're asking, Scott, in regards to the live stream. That'll be available 90 days after the regatta. Lane assignments for most races, while many have been decided, they are not yet available because we don't have the seating for all of the teams. We're waiting on the seating right now for a couple of areas. And there will be a replay of this meeting. We'll post it to our homepage and you can watch it there. Also, one other thing, I'd like to let everyone know that if you are interested in doing the beach sprints, we didn't include a link in here that I know of, but it'll be available. It's available at crewclassic.org/beach sprints. There's no dashes or anything of that sort. It's just beach sprints, one word. So hopefully that helps. And I think that that's it. So Mark, I'm just answering everything live. So I've been clicking that it's been answered live, just so you know. So I think that that's all of the questions that we have. If anybody has any more, it's your time to shine. Oh, wind docking. Do we do a U-turn instead of rowing it straight up into it? Yes, you do. So again, as Lex mentioned time and time again, we should all be facing the finish line, whether we are launching or retrieving our boats. So from the finish, you'll do a U-turn and come into the boat so that always you have that's your starboard side facing the beach, correct, everyone? Yeah, starboard side. So your port side will have the oars out. Right? Looks like there might be another question or two. Yes, you can rewatch the live stream. It is available It's constantly available once you've paid for your subscription. And there's all sorts of other races, as mentioned. The boat race is going to be available, all sorts of things. Will we get a confirmation we signed up for beach sprints, or do we just show up at the time? We will be sending out an information email this week, probably Tuesday or Wednesday, just to confirm, what you need to bring with you and that you're signed up. That being said, if you're still interested in signing up, sign up. If you want to sign up on the day of, we're fine with that too. We might have some treats for people, donuts or something. So if you sign up too late, you might not get any because we might not have enough, but do show up if you're interested. We're very excited to have people, but show up on time. We are really lucky that we have the US national team coach, possibly the best beach sprints coach in the world, coming and giving this. And if you have never met Mark Oria, he's a joy to be around. You'll really enjoy him. Can you re-explain brick and mortar? Brick and mortar means that your whole crew, the entirety of them, including Coxswain, I believe, Craig, correct me if I'm wrong, yes, including Coxswain, live within 50 miles of the boathouse. So you have a physical boathouse address where you have a boathouse, and everyone lives within 50 miles of that. So you have to submit everyone's address, like where they live, and that needs to be the address that they're registered through US Rowing and Regatta Central with. So if you're giving us a different address than the one there, they need to change that if they have moved. That happens a lot of times. Or let's say an athlete has recently graduated from college, they haven't changed from their parents' house. That's, I feel like, the most common issue with it. All right. Have I missed anything? I don't think I have. For all of you who stuck around until the very end, we're incredibly grateful for all of you. And we're really excited to have you all at Crew Classic this weekend. I think it's going to be a great year. And as Mark said, it's looking like it's going to be a lovely one.
We'll see you all in just a few days, and looking forward to a great race. Welcome.
All right, looks good.